Hello there, astronomy lovers from all over the world. My name is Luis Miguel Azurin and I welcome you to a new Astro Academy video. As you know, your YouTube channel, your podcast and your online academy about what we love. Astronomy, astrophotography and everything related to the universe and space. What if I told you there's an astronomical equatorial mount with a go-to system? That literally fits in one hand and allows you to automate many night photography tasks, like capturing tracked panoramas or tracked Milky Way shots, but also fully automating astrophotography sessions through N.I.N.A and working with dedicated astronomical equipment. Today we're going to talk about a mount that breaks many molds in portable astrophotography, the Benro Polaris, and I'll show you how to set it up for free to connect it with N.I.N.A and make it the ultimate mount for nomadic astrophotography. The Benro Polaris Astro Edition is an extremely compact motorized equatorial mount, originally designed for night landscape photography and time-lapse. Unlike traditional astronomical mounts, the Polaris was designed from the start as a hybrid tool. Photography, video, automated panoramas, and sky tracking. This means it can do things that usually require several different systems. But what's really interesting is that its potential goes much further. On the Natural Portraits channel, we've already seen this mount in action. There, we've used it in its most common mode, controlled from a mobile phone using its official app. In that mode, the Polaris works as an extraordinary tool for night photography and starry landscapes. In fact, this mount has become a turning point in our trip to La Palma, allowing us to do much more complex things than with traditional mounts or other star trackers. But today, we're going to take it a step further. What many people don't know is that the Polaris can literally become a fully automated astronomical mount. And when I say fully automated, I mean integrating it with professional astrophotography software like N.I.N.A or PhD-2 guiding. That means this small mount is able to perform automatic go-tos, carry out plate solving, run complete capture sequences, and also work with auto-guiding. In other words, it can behave like an advanced astronomical mount, but with a radically smaller and lighter size, ideal for nomads or traveling astrophotographers. And this is where the Polaris becomes especially interesting. Many of us astrophotographers dream of photographing truly dark skies in remote locations. But transporting a classic equatorial mount on a plane is complex. Even with current harmonic mounts, we also need to transport a power source, a battery. And this is also complex to manage with airlines. The Benro Polaris completely changes that scenario because you can put it in a backpack along with a small astronomical camera, a compact telescope, and a laptop, and have a complete astrophotography system with its own battery. In June of 2026, we're traveling to one of the most spectacular places on the planet for night landscape photography and astrophotography, the Namib Desert, the oldest desert in the world, and one of the darkest skies on Earth. In an environment like this, a portable system like the Benro Polaris allows for something extraordinary. On one hand, photographing the stunning landscapes of this country under those incredible starry skies. And on the other hand, setting up a full astrophotography rig under Bortle 1 skies, in places where it would be impossible to carry a conventional mount. And that opens the door to capturing the Southern Hemisphere sky with total freedom. By the way, if you want to find out more about this trip, which still has a few spots left, the link is down in the description. But to take full advantage of all that potential, we need to go a step beyond mobile control. We need to integrate the Polaris into a real astronomical workflow. And that is exactly what we are going to do now. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to connect the Polaris with N.I.N.A and turn it into a fully automated mount. So let's go to the computer and I'll show you. To be able to install the driver that will allow us to manage our Benro Polaris directly from N.I.N.A, we need to download two things. On one hand, the driver. And on the other hand, we must have the Python platform installed on our computer, since everything works through Alpaca and Python. This driver is developed by David Morrison, an Australian who has his entire project developed within this website. By the way, all the links I'm going to use in this video are down in the description. So we're going to start first with Python. Over here, I have the Python website, and it's important for you to know that this Benro Polaris driver works with Python versions up to 3.13. So among all the versions you have within the Python Downloads tab, you know that between 3.9 and 3.13, you can download any of them. Don't download from 3.14 onwards because it won't work for you. at least with the updates we have so far. In my case, I installed Python version 3.11. It's super important that in this step we activate this option, add python.exe to path. We click it and we install. Once we have Python installed, we have to move on to the Benro Polaris Driver, which we have on the Kickstarter site, where David Morrison has developed his entire project. Here we go down to this link we have here, which you also have down in the description. We arrive at this website, and from here we have to download the driver by clicking on this green button and clicking on the download zip option. Once we've reached this point, over here I have the driver package. We have to unzip it into one of the computer's folders. David Morrison recommends doing it inside the Documents folder, so we're going to come over here and simply unzip the contents of the package into the folder. What we need to do next is right-click directly on the folder and select Open in Terminal. And now we are going to install all the driver contents. To do that, we have to enter the following code: pip install -r-platforms/win/requirements.txt. You also have this code below in the description so that you only have to copy and paste it. And we press enter. What this code does is install everything the driver needs to function. And now we simply have to enter the following code: Python driver/main.py. What this will do is start the driver. Well, we have the driver started and it's indicating it can't find the Polaris. Since the Polaris is already running, now we have to connect to it via Wi-Fi, so we open our Wi-Fi adapter and look for the Benro Polaris Wi-Fi network. I have it right here and I'm connecting to it. Here we have it, Polaris communication init done. Right now we are already connected to the Benro Polaris and we have the driver running. So the next step will be to go directly to N.I.N.A. Once we have N.I.N.A open, we go to telescopes or mounts and check that we have the driver started. Here we have the two Benro Polaris drivers started. We select one of them. And before connecting to the mount, we are going to open the Alpaca Pilot platform, which will give us all the mount information. To do that, we click on the gears, Alpaca Pilot opens, and we go to the connection tab and check that we have both drivers connected. From here, we can finish connecting any options we want, and here we have all the information for the Benro Polaris. It's important that in this initial configuration, you correctly indicate the coordinates of your observation site. Especially if you are connected to the Benro Polaris Wi-Fi network, it won't pick them up automatically. So you'll have to enter them manually and save the position. And now we'd have everything ready, finally, to connect the mount with N.I.N.A. We go back to N.I.N.A and click on Connect. And there we have our mount connected. In fact, now if I click on the control buttons, you can see how the mount is already moving right now entirely and completely under my control. And if I click on Park, the mount automatically goes to its parked position. Well, from now on, we already have the mount connected with N.I.N.A and working. We have the driver fully working, but we need to make one more adjustment if we want to use it to its full potential in astrophotography. And that's connecting it to the ASCOM platform to be able to do auto-guiding with PhD-2 guiding. For this, obviously, we need to have the ASCOM platform installed on our computer, and we have to open ASCOM Diagnostics. Here, we already have ASCOM Diagnostics open. We have to click on Choose Device and on Choose and Connect to Device. We're going to select Telescope, we're going to click on Choose. If we have Alpaca Discovery correctly activated, all the Alpaca drivers we have installed should appear. All we have to do is select them all. Click on OK. And once we've linked them with ASCOM, we go to Alpaca, Manage Devices, and they should all appear here. It's important that we stick with the driver whose IP matches the one we have active in N.I.N.A. So we go to N.I.N.A and check that the driver we're connected to, in this case, is the IP 168.0.3. Well, that's the driver we're going to select. We go back to ASCOM Diagnostics and we're going to delete the rest of the drivers, so there's no confusion. We delete them and then we're going to check if it works. We just have to select this option here. We click on OK and we hit Connect. And as we can see, everything is working perfectly. We're going to do the same with rotator. We come here, select rotator, click on choose, and we're going to install whatever drivers we have. We go to manage devices, and likewise, we're going to stick with the one that shows the IP we're connected to, which is the one ending in 0.3. We reconnect this, click on connect, and once again, we see that it's working correctly. It's connected, so now we have the Benro Polaris Driver connected to the ASCOM platform. What we're going to do next is configure it in PhD2 guiding. For this, we go back to N.I.N.A, we go to the auto guiding section, and we're going to click on connect the auto guiding system. As you can see, it's giving me an error that I don't have any camera connected. And that's because we'll have to test all of this in depth in the field, but for now, let's leave it connected. We come here to the equipment connection, and here we have to have the mount on one side where we have to find the Alpaca Benro Polaris Driver in the drop-down. And over here, we have to expand this option and likewise connect the Alpaca Benro Polaris Driver in the rotator. Once we have the drivers connected, we click on connect, and if everything has worked correctly, we would already have our Benro Polaris also connected with the PhD2 auto guiding system. Well, at this point, we already have the Benro Polaris Driver working, but to activate it, we have to do the following. We have to go to the folder where we have it hosted, in Documents, right-click, open in Terminal, and enter the code python-driver/main.py. And in this way, we launch the driver. But this is a bit cumbersome. I'm going to show you how to create a file to run the driver with just 2 clicks. We simply go to the folder where we have the driver installed, right-click, New, text document. I'm going to call it Start Polaris Driver. We go inside and we are going to copy the following code that you have below in the description, cd/d space. We are going to copy the path where we have the driver, which we get from here, simply here in the address bar. We copy all of this from here and paste it here. Enter, then type python driver /main.py. Enter, pause. We are going to save this code. File, save. And now we are going to change the name of this document, and in the extension, we are going to put .bat, B-A-T. And from now on, when we run this little file that we just created, this script, what it will automatically do with just 2 clicks will be to start the driver we just installed. We can save this file anywhere on the computer, and we can even create shortcuts. And by simply double-clicking on the script, we will have direct access to start the driver. As you have been able to see, the Benro Polaris Astro Edition is not a traditional astronomical mount, but precisely because of that, it can do things that other mounts cannot. For night photography, for automated panoramas, and now also as a portable astronomical mount controlled from N.I.N.A. In future videos, we will see how to get even more out of it in the field. And who knows, maybe from some of the darkest skies on the planet. See you again in the next Astro Academy video.